First things first, like I said, is to create a whole new project window, give it a name like model reference plane, new, and put it in a folder and accept it. So we have a totally separate modeling reference file folder here that we will never, ever really want to destroy, but we will merge it in and save it into other projects we'll do. That way we don't have to build this every time we do it. I have them, I've been working with them for years. It's the same reference scene file that I built years ago. I then come over here with my 4-pane setup and I hit plane. I'm not going to do anything fancy with this plane right now, but come over here and make it be 100 by 100 height and width. And for this case, I'm just going to make the segments down to 1 by 1. I'm then in my front plane going to rotate this a little bit towards me till I get a value over here in rotate X that I can put specifically at 90 degrees. So now I've done that, let's name this what this is. This will end up being the front reference. I'm just going to name it what it is here, front reference. And I'm going to modify, freeze the transformations to do what's called zeroing out. So it no longer has that 90 associated with it. I've zeroed it out.
Which one is front reference? You could click on it.
Over here is the front. See how it's facing me. So that's going to be my front image to model to.
And we're only naming it because it's a reference.
Yeah, and this is going to go in its own layer, so we can lock it, so we don't actually move it, we don't actually nudge it, you know, just like tracing. Once I have my front reference, I'll go to Edit, Duplicate, and I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. So I'll just give it a little bit of rotation here, and then finishing up, rotate Y, 90 by typing it in here. This I will change to side reference, naming.
Which one do you click on the bottom right?
That's this one over here now. And again, I'll modify and I'll freeze it to get everything back to 0. So in a nutshell, what I've done, it's one, I rotated in the X 90, so it's facing the front. And the other one, I rotated in the Y, so it's facing the side.
Okay.
So what we're doing here, for lack of a better example, if you think about, right, three-dimensionally, I am making a front and a side reference plane that'll look like this. So I'll be able to put a front picture on one, a side picture on the other. So when I'm swapping, I know what I'm modeling. And they're lined up like this. You can see it in the perspective. See that? Front, side. I name them. I've got them lined out. And I always, once I got them where I wanted to be, I hit that modify freeze transformation. And that zeroes it out in the sense that they now, both neither of these, see, they no longer show 90. So even though they're primitive and I rotate them into place, I go to freeze transformation and now it's back to 0. See, there's no more longer a rotate there. Both of these. It should turn off that grid so we can see it better. I'm not even touching the top right now. Okay. When I'm looking at the front view, I want the square looking right at me. When I look at it from the side view, I want the square looking right at me. When we see it in the perspective, you can see where those front and sides are going to be aligned. We're not worrying about top, or even in the case you can make back view, you can do all this stuff. We're not worrying any of that. What we're doing is setting up frames that we're going to put our picture here for what we will model. But that's why we also kept it at, before we froze transformation here, whoopsie, need to rotate that. But this is essentially all we've got now, see? Is a front, a side. Now, because I don't want to mess with these once I create them, go ahead to layers, create an empty layer, double click, and you can call this reference layer. Okay, you can even give it a color if you want, you know, like a specific color. Save. Okay. Okay. Then I can select these two, right click on the layer and add them to it so that you see they are pink. That way, if I want to, I can literally hit this button until it says R and it will not let me through. Now, if you so want to at this point, I could literally come here, create an empty layer, double click it, and call this model layer. Color. And now I'm ready to model on my model layer once I get my references by referencing with the R to lock my reference images down. Okay, so all we've done right now is just got our view planes, our reference planes. Now, how do we get a picture on them? Okay, well, first thing we need to do is we need to get the picture or a picture. Now, this is our Adirondack chair that is in the module tool. Okay, it's not, I don't think it's available to you guys just yet. That's why I'm doing this exercise just to show you. You would download it. Right? I would take it and I would copy it and put it in my file. Right here, modeling reference file and source images. And paste it. Likewise, I've already got a bunch of different things kind of tossed in here. Where'd they go? It's not yet. I need to do it in Photoshop and turn it. See, I'm actually going to throw in here a bunch of other just random reference files, front side views, that kind of stuff that I just grabbed off the web so I can show you. Now though, in Photoshop, however, we need to set this up properly. New file. Pixels. 100. Actually, I'm going to go 1000 by 1000 because 100 is too small. 100 is just a unit for the plane we're making. Well, we want this to be square. Very, very important to be square. This can actually just be 72 dpi. And RGB. Not really. You could do this actually in by opening the file as well. Point is I want a square. Now, modeling, assignments, reference file, source images, Adirondack, and open. Because now what I need is I need now a true square. So I'm going to hold shift to get a true square here of my side view of my chair. Something like that. Paste it right there. And you can see just how small it actually is. Don't worry about the size right now, okay? But that's going to represent the side view. I still have that square here. And I'm just going to move that up until I basically get it to be centered up on the back. I can always make nudges later. Copy. Paste. With these two together, holding Shift, Control T, I'm going to scale them up together. Say more or less fit my new frame there. Try and center it up best as possible. Okay, let me go ahead and hide this for now. So you see now, I've got this fitting this square. Now, this top one, right? Go ahead and just turn the opacity down a little bit so I can see it, because the top one needs to be aligned a little bit different. See, because I need this top one to line up. The top of the chair, the back, and the bottom of the back. And then I can center it. Something like that. Now, this means we could also do a couple little things here, like I could come here and, make sure I trim I want this to be dead center. I don't want to have to move my plane. So a little bit of time saved here. So you see, I've just got it trimmed up there. Go ahead and hide my back chair.
You're just building a chair?
I'm building because I don't have a true front view of the chair. I have the side. Now it's centered up. Let's go ahead. And line it up a little bit more now. See, whoops, that needs to be 100. This needs to be a little less, so I can sit here and nudge it because I want that to be aligned to the top. See, so the top of this chair lines up to the top of the chair. The bottom of this back lines up to the bottom there. See that? And go ahead. So now, because I don't have more of a back of a chair to work with here, or the front view, this is all I've got. Now, this will be saved as my computer, save on my computer, source images. Now, I don't need it. I could do a PSD, but I don't want to fight with PSD. So let's see here. Let's just do a save as or export maybe. There, export as, we'll just do JPEG. We'll keep it simple. Export, and the name will be chair. This will be the chair front or the closest to the chair front, right? This one, export as, will be chair side. Okay. Back over to Maya now. Now, how on earth do we get the images onto our planes? Well, this is going to our rendering editor, Hypershade again. Now, because I created all new file, I'm back to 0 here. And I don't need a fancy shader here. I can just use a Lambert. Okay? And you see I created 2 new Lamberts. Lambert 2, I'll call this front reference. Lambert 3, I'll call side reference. Front reference. So far in the Hypershade, we played around with just changing color, right? Assigning a color to it. We can put a texture. We can put a JPEG. We could put a PSD. We could put an image on our texture. How do we do it? Well, we don't need the color. We go over here to this little checker box, and it pulls up these options. File. What file? Image name. Well, it's going right to my source file, my source image, because I put them in there. So this will be chair front. Right? Open. Let's go to side reference, color, option box, file, folder, chair side. Open. So that you see now, these 2 Lamberts that we create, front reference and side reference, now have the image in there, like a texture map, see? So now we just need to assign them to the correct view plane. Well, what's this one? That says front reference. Right click. Come on. Assign material to selection. Front reference. Oops, I did that backwards. Assign material. Front reference.
They both say front.
Yeah, this one's supposed to say side. Oops, again. This is the power of naming, right? Very important. And side reference now will get side reference. Now, a lot of students will be like, okay, that's great, Mr. Lehman, but I don't see it. Right? We just assigned a picture to these planes, but I don't see it. That is because we need to activate this button to show textures. See that? Go here, show textures. Go here, show textures. So look at this now. Now that I've got that, I can model the side of the chair and I can model that as much of the back of the chair there based upon the references I have, just like the little rig guy. And so all I need to do now, which is really cool, right, is lock that reference layer by going to the R for reference only, which does, see, they're locked. And now I can come here and start to think about modeling this. I'm gonna go ahead and save, right? Because I want to name this, and this would be my default model default model reference whatever, save it. Because now I'm ready to start modeling. Now, what's good sometimes is to save this PSD right here, because what if instead of that, I wanted to model this car? Well, copy that. Where would that go? By the way, a great way to automatically center, guys. Cut, paste, and it automatically will center, which is a cool little option there, although it's not perfectly centered there. I can see it's a little bit off. So now I've got my truck front. Go ahead and get rid of that. Got my side. Now, here's a big issue that pops up, and I might as well have this here. This is a very important thing to sometimes put into this reference, is to create a cone. Okay, I know it sounds silly, but if we create a cone, and then I rotate that cone in the positive direction by coming here and typing in 90. It's telling me which way is forward based upon perspective view. See that? This is facing forward. That's the forward. And the reason why we need to know that, because of situations like this. So go ahead and turn down my opacity on my side view here so I can minimize and line up my tires and line up my hood, just like that, to get the center for the front of the truck. You see now, this is what you have to do when you're lining these up. Tires have to line up with tires. Lights have to line up with lights. Mirrors have to line up with mirrors. Okay? Grill has to line up with grill. If it doesn't do that, it looks like these lights are a little bit. You might have to use some grids here. So let me just go ahead and activate my rulers. So I can come here and say, okay, hood lines up. Yes. See that? Hood lines up good. What about top of this bumper here? That's a little bit off. You see that? What about top of the mirrors look pretty good. Top of the grill is a little off. See that? So even though it's showing me the front and the right, one of these is just a little bit off. As you can see, this is the top of the grill on the front, but the top of the grill here is actually, well, no, actually that might stop erasing. Okay, so I'm actually just going to go with this because I don't want to go and nudge this too much. Okay, so in a nutshell here, you see, I've got my front and my side of my truck in the same setting. So what am I going to need to do here? File, export as. This will be so now over here in Maya, well, you know what? I'm done modeling the chair. I want to model this truck now. Well, all I got to do is open up my references or my shaders here. This is the front, and I'm going to swap it with the truck front. Grab the side, swap it with the truck side. And now you can see I'm ready to model my truck. But what's a major problem? The side is not facing the cone. So I put the cone there to say it has to face that way. So that is actually easier done here, where all I need to do, image, edit, transform, flip horizontally, export as side. Cool part is I should automatically, with a refresh, side truck. See, now it's facing the right direction in the axis. See that? I have my model here to model from the front. I have my side. What if I want to model something else now, right? What if there's another reference to work from? Well, let's see. What else do I have here? How about this kid? Right? So here's this kid. I'll go without the back guy. Paste. In case you're wondering why side views really don't have hands, because they block the body. Okay. Double check. You can see here that yes, the hair lines up. The shoes do not. I'm just gonna make them just a little more here so the hair lines up, the eyes line up. See? Time to model for kid. Export as. This would of course be, kid side reference. This here, export as. Kid front. All I need to do to update this, go into the shaders, front reference, option, folder, kid front, open. Side, option, folder, kid side. And now, face up, the kid needs to be reversed. See, he's facing the wrong direction. It's a lot easier to do it here. I could swap it around inside Maya, but it's just much easier here just to flip horizontally. And then export as kid side. And then the hyper shade, all I gotta do is just reload it. And now, here we are in the perspective view, and you can see how I can start to model him. The reference, and he's facing the right direction. So once you get this reference, that little setup here, all you gotta do is just load it up and then start modeling or update it. Because I can now go and model all these guys because they're down the symmetry line. I only really have to model half. It's a great thing about the chair. It's a great thing about most of the stuff we model. Symmetry, the character here. We can model half of it and then use the mirror. Because even mirror has stitching capabilities so that it will, kind of stitch and glue together the scene. But the point here is just that I've got these references ready to go. And all I had to do is set up that default viewport start. Now, I can even get rid of that. I just use that as a way to know which way's forward. Hit R for reference layer, which means, see, it won't let me touch those. And I can get going there, right? And now I can start modeling these characters. And that's the power of having properly done reference images. And again, doesn't matter what I want to model. One more model, one more reference here. Here's a scooter, right? Now again, I can even create a plane for the back. I can make a double-sided shader for those. I can do one for the top or the bottom to give me an idea of the shape and what it looks like from the top. Or as I'm modeling along, I can worry about my front and side and then move these planes to do tops, bottoms, and backs.